The cycle of the day is one important tool for understanding how to maintain balance throughout your day, and understanding the cycle of the seasons is just as important. The qualities of each season predominate, and they penetrate into us. You know this in the wintertime. If you don't dress properly, you go outside and you get cold, just like the season. And if you're not careful, your skin gets dry, just like the Vata dosha. In the summertime, the heat of summer is just like the Pitta dosha. So if you're very active and out in the sun all day, you'll get very hot and possibly dehydrated, just like the Pitta dosha. In the springtime, the heaviness, moistness, like the rainy days of spring, will also penetrate into the body, creating more moisture and excess accumulations. So understanding what qualities are present in each season helps us to understand what qualities to give ourselves, to bring into our life during that season to maintain balance. Let's start with the Kapha season, springtime. Kapha is cool, moist, heavy, dull, stable, still, and all these qualities are present in the springtime. The winter snows begin to melt, there's more moisture in the environment. The spring rains begin to come and make things muddy and slushy and heavy. And the environment is cool and moist all around. These qualities penetrate our body. And naturally, the body wants to let go of the wintertime accumulations. And so this is a perfect time for spring cleaning internally. The animals do this naturally. They'll eat the first little shoots that grow up in the springtime, and they'll eat an abundance of them because it's the only thing growing at that time. These little bitter green plants and herbs are what help our bodies to cleanse. So taking in more bitter and astringent vegetables, particularly green vegetables, dandelion roots, all kinds of sprouts and shoots, and other herbs and roots can help us to naturally have a cleanse. Also, lightening the diet and taking in more warming foods and spices. The warmth will help to melt the cool accumulations of the Kapha dosha and help them to move out of the body naturally. So Kapha season, the springtime, is the perfect time for a spring cleanse. It's also the perfect time for bringing more heat into the body. So vigorous exercise, vigorous yoga, vigorous pranayama, all these things will create more heat and more movement to counter the heaviness and coolness of the season. Springtime allergies, mucus in the sinuses, congestion in the lungs, these are all common problems in the springtime that can be alleviated by cleansing with the seasons. Nature always is providing exactly what we need to stay balanced. And so those first little green shoots that grow up are meant for us to eat, and to eat abundantly, so that we have the lightness, the bitterness, the heat, and the astringency to clean out from the wintertime. The next things that start to grow in are berries, which are kind of sweet but sour fruits. Those dark red and purple colors show the power to move the lymphatic system. All these berries are full of antioxidants and help the lymphatic system to drain. The lymph system is like your plumbing. So of course, we want the plumbing of your house to be moving so that when we try to cleanse the body, all the toxins can move out through the plumbing. If the plumbing is congested, then nothing will move in the body and will become accumulated with these toxins, accumulated with too much moisture, too much lubrication, too much heaviness. So nature then provides in late spring and early summer the berries that become the lymphatic movers for our body. As the summer season approaches, there's more warmth in the environment, and that warmth also penetrates into the earth and helps all the fruits and vegetables begin to come into season. And all these vegetables and fruits are very sweet and cooling in nature. And this is what we need to counter the heat and the dryness of summer. So as heat accumulates, it's just like the Pitta dosha, that fire, that intensity of the warm weather and the activities that come with it, increase heat in our body. This is the time of year where you start having sensations of heat inside the body. You may easily start having inflammations of the skin and of other parts of the body. You may also start to feel dryness because that heat, just like any other fire, starts to dry out the tissues. So the cool and moist foods that are present in the summertime from our fresh gardens and fruit trees are a wonderful antidote for cooling and soothing the body. Drinking lots of water in the summertime is also wonderful practice to keep you cool and calm and balanced. As the season progresses and the summer comes towards an end, the heavier, denser vegetables start to grow in. So more of the root vegetables start to come into their season. And the grains also start to ripen and become full. So in the transition time from summer into fall, as things begin to cool down, we start to have heavier and denser foods, more warming foods, to accommodate for the cooling temperatures of fall. The grains then and the root vegetables, squashes, beets, all help to insulate the body against the coming cold. So as the leaves dry up on the trees and the coldness penetrates into the season, those qualities also penetrate into us. The fall season is just like the Vata dosha, cold, dry, light, and rough. If we don't take precautions to care for ourselves and give ourselves the opposite qualities, we too will become cold and dry and rough. Then the winter season comes, and winter is really just an extension of the Vata season. So the coldness and dryness of fall intensifies, becomes colder and drier in the winter season. And so then we need to give extra care to taking care of ourselves, having warm, moist, and heavy foods to nourish our body, oiling with warm oils to protect our skin and keep us lubricated. These are the ways that we can help to keep our immune system strong so that the deterioration that can come with Vata dosha and with the Vata season doesn't limit our immunity and our strength during the winter season. So again, the body then starts to store up for the winter. And in the wintertime, that is when we want to eat the heaviest, most dense and warming foods. So we want to eat more oils in our food. Animal products and animal fats are much more balancing for us in the wintertime. The heavy root vegetables and grains that can be stored into the winter help to insulate us from the cold. This is the time of year to give yourself a little extra everything. A little extra food, putting on a few extra pounds, is a natural way to insulate yourself. The body is very likely to pull that in and feel very comforted and supported by that. If we try and cleanse in the wintertime, it's really working against the natural intelligence of our body. So we can allow ourselves to have a little more indulgence, a little more comfort from food and from our practices, a little more stillness, maybe even a little more sleep in the wintertime. As the sun sets earlier and rises later, we too can go to sleep earlier and rise later, giving ourselves a chance to rejuvenate and to balance out the effects of the season. So then the cycle starts all over. As the season warms and comes back into the springtime, then the body again wants to let go of the accumulations that it's brought in for the winter storage. So seasonal cleansing is a wonderful practice. The springtime is the most important time for a cleanse, but between every transition of the seasons is a very good time because your body has to work extra hard to go from one system to another. If it's cooling and warming, cooling you in the summertime and warming you in the fall, that transition is a time for the body where it has to work harder. And it's more likely to become imbalanced. especially if your own current imbalance is like that of one of the seasons. So Ayurveda recommends that with every change of season, you do a simple cleanse just before to get rid of the excesses that it may have accumulated in that season and to give your body the extra strength it needs to prepare for the next season.